What is up, guitar playing people? Today we've got a great little lesson that will show you how to play rhythm and lead kind of back and forth or simultaneously, depending on how you want to look at it, when it's just you alone with no band. So lots of scenarios where this could be helpful. Maybe you're doing a solo performance, and sometimes without the guidance of chords, kind of noodling around the neck doesn't always sound so good. Maybe you've been to a performance or have put on a performance where that's the case, such as life. And, of course, playing in front of a partner, in front of your friends, if you just want to show off your chops, right? So this can be helpful in a handful of scenarios. And that's really the deal. If you find it helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. That's helpful to me. And of course, there'll be lots of helpful things for you in the future beyond this lesson. All right. So very similar to what I just played. Now the exercise itself, the piece itself, is available for download in the description, free download, to Google Drive link. And yeah, you don't have to come back to this every time you want to work on this piece. Okay. But basically we've got almost like 4 sections. It's a really simple progression. It's, G, E minor, C, D, and then back to G. It's based around that really simple progression. Okay, 1, 6, 4, 5. And in between, we're going to be playing the G major scale, the G major pentatonic scale. So you'll have inside of that PDF a full map of the neck using a G major pentatonic scale. And I think that's just really helpful. So you have context inside of, what the heck are we doing and why are we doing it? Okay. But let's go over kind of section by section, and then I'll play through it. But if it's 4 sections, 4 chords, this would be section 1. There's section 1, and it leads us nicely into the E minor shape. Let's go slowly. Right, section 1. Now we have the E minor shape, and I'm looking down because I have my tabs down here. I printed it out. I just put it on the floor instead of a music stand. So there's basically section 2. One more time, since we did the other one 3 times. Then we've got the 3rd section, which would be centered around the C. There's the 3rd section. I know I stopped it abruptly there. That'll lead really nicely into the D shape. Let me play that a little cleaner, sorry. That might be the funkiest part for most people because we have that kind of double slide, which is a great technique. I think sounds really good and is relatively simple, right? Sliding from 7 on the D string up to 9, and then 8 to 9. So just make sure I get 1 rep in there that's clean. Sorry for the sloppy playing thus far. And then we lead into the D. And again, I'm just looking down here, make sure I've got that right. And then we lead into the G. Back to the beginning. Okay? That's really the deal. What I want you to be aware of is we're playing triads. So that's all the notes you need for a G major. That's all the notes you need for an E minor. That's all the notes you need for a C major. That's all the notes you need for a D major. Triads are such a beautiful way to map out the neck, because if you think about this triad shape, there's a scale around it, right? Think about your E minor, right? There's a scale around it. You think about the C, close enough to the G where there's a scale around it. D, You could say similar to that E minor shape, but of course you can move D up here. You can move G up here. So similar concept, you know, what I was playing in the beginning of this video, same concept, I'm just using different shapes. Here's G, here's G, here's G. So triads are super helpful if you're gonna, you know, experiment with this, this way of kind of noodling around the neck. And honestly, I don't think there's really anything in here that is super outrageous technique-wise. Again, maybe that double slide, but right, two small triads. The slide from 5 to 9, if you've got your slides down, won't be the end of the world, but sound it out. You know, you can take your time. Excuse me. Don't rush. It's such a good reminder to not rush. It still sounds pretty darn good if you go slow. Restart. Got to play it clean at least once. But there it is. I'm not going to beat you over the head with it. What I'll say is set a 5-minute timer so you can work through it, and you can work on it for longer. I think it gives you a good amount of reps without going overboard. But of course, I think this is kind of a fun way to practice, really applicable. So you might want to set a 10-15-minute timer if you find this to be a cool concept. But 5 minutes, in my mind, is such a lovely time. Again, not overboard, but you still get in some really solid reps. And once you're feeling good with the piece, put on a metronome, put on a drum track. You know, if you watch my videos, I'm a metronome, drum track, intense person, because you want to be able to do these things in a good rhythm, right? So for those of you who are a little deeper and further along in your journey, you might be listening to me and thinking, this isn't in perfect rhythm. Listen, that's a skill I got to work on. You know, I can be too jumpy. I can be too fast. I'm a stressful guy, or high stress guy. So, you know, some of those things, sitting in the pocket, getting into a good groove with a metronome or a drum track is really important. And it allows you to start at a speed that feels comfortable and build as you work on this exercise. So I think that's just a really important thing. But I'll leave it there. If you need to hear it again, of course, you can listen to this as many times as you want, but download the PDF so you don't have to come back to this when you want to work on a piece that is really valuable and could be something great to put on the front end of your guitar playing sessions. All right. I'll leave it there. Like and subscribe. Helpful to me, helpful to you in the future, because there'll be videos that'll be helpful. And I hope you all have fun with this, and I hope to see you all on the next one. Until then, peace. Have a happy guitar playing experience.